So you're planning to visit Williamsburg, Virginia. That's a great choice because this trip can be amazing when you plan it right. The problem is Williamsburg looks way easier than it actually is. You see Colonial Williamsburg, Jamestown, Yorktown, Busch Gardens, cute taverns, old streets, river views, and suddenly it feels like you can just show up and figure it out. That's where people mess up. They walk too much on day one, confuse the two Jamestown sites, rush Yorktown like it's a quick side stop, forget to check the Parkway detours, then wonder why the trip feels more tiring than fun. This 4-day plan keeps the whole thing simple. You'll know where to start, what to skip, when to slow down, and how to avoid the one Jamestown mistake that ruins a lot of Williamsburg trips. Day 1. Colonial Williamsburg, Merchant Square, and the historic area. Start your first morning in the easiest way possible. Get coffee or breakfast near Merchant Square if you're staying close to the historic area, or start from the visitor center side if you're driving in. Don't make the first hour complicated. Williamsburg rewards people who begin with a clean route, comfortable shoes, and a tiny bit of humility about how much walking is coming. Spring and fall are the easiest seasons for a trip like this because the walking feels friendlier. Summer can still be great, especially if your group wants Busch Gardens later, but the heat can turn a cute stroll into a group personality test. Winter has its own appeal with museums, taverns, lower crowd energy, and seasonal programs, though hours can shift. No season is off limits. You just plan the day around the weather instead of pretending brick paths and humidity are imaginary. Keep day 1 centered on Colonial Williamsburg. That's the whole point. Don't run to Jamestown yet. Don't squeeze in Yorktown because the map makes it look harmless. Today is where you learn the layout, understand the rhythm, and let the historic area feel like an actual place instead of a speed run with bonnets in the background. If you're parking at the visitor center, use the shuttle from the start. Colonial Williamsburg lists the complimentary WATA Route 15 buses as running from the visitor center through the historic area every 15 minutes, with service Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's one of the simplest ways to save your feet before they start sending angry messages. Use the shuttle early, before it becomes a rescue mission for angry feet. Once you're inside the historic area, make Duke of Gloucester Street your spine. It gives the day a shape. Work in a loose loop instead of drifting around like your phone is making decisions for the family. Start near the Governor's Palace side because it immediately gives you scale. You see power, ceremony, gardens, rooms, and the kind of money that tells you politics has never been a cheap hobby. From there, mix major sites with trade shops. The blacksmith, printer, apothecary, cabinet maker, tailor, or another active interpretation stop can do more for the day than 10 doorway photos. Slow down long enough to listen. This is where Colonial Williamsburg is strongest. The buildings matter, and the voices behind the work matter even more, because they show how labor, status, law, slavery, commerce, and daily life sat next to each other. For lunch, keep it simple and planned. Raleigh Tavern Bakery can be a good quick snack or lighter stop when it's open. A sit-down tavern meal can be worth it if you want the atmosphere, but don't assume you can walk up hungry at peak time and float into a table like Colonial royalty with sneakers. Colonial Williamsburg says restaurant and store hours vary, and several taverns recommend reservations. Pick one tavern experience if it fits your budget and schedule. You came for vacation and nobody needs a Colonial eating contest with candlelight. In the afternoon, work toward the Capitol side instead of bouncing all over the map. The Capitol gives the day another strong anchor, and the nearby stops help the story keep moving. Also, plan your indoor reset before you desperately need it. Colonial Williamsburg lists most historic trades and sites from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and the art museums of Colonial Williamsburg are also listed from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Treat those museums like part of the plan. They're your smart heat, rain, tired kids, and tired adults solution. This is also the right day to think about tickets without turning your vacation into math homework. If you're doing Colonial Williamsburg, historic Jamestown, Jamestown Settlement, the American Revolution Museum at Yorktown, and Yorktown Battlefield, the America's Historic Triangle ticket can be the cleanest option for many visitors. It's listed as valid for 5 consecutive days from first use, with current prices shown at $126 for adults 16 and older, and $57 for youth 6 to 15, plus fees and taxes. Compare it against your actual plans before buying and check the redemption rules because voucher tickets may need to be exchanged at a Colonial Williamsburg ticketing location before visiting partner sites. End the day in Merchant Square. Let it be the decompression zone, the place where the day finally loosens up. Get dinner nearby, wander a little, find dessert, or book an evening program if the schedule lines up and you still have energy. By now, you've figured out the area, used the shuttle, and avoided the biggest day one mistake, which is treating Colonial Williamsburg like a 2-hour warm-up. Tomorrow needs more attention because Jamestown needs more than one quick photo and a parking lot exit. Day 2. Jamestown, the James River, and the first colony story. Day 2 is where Williamsburg trips either get smart or get messy. Have breakfast before you leave, bring water and snacks, and drive toward Jamestown with a little cushion in the plan. This is the day people underestimate because the name sounds simple. Jamestown. One word. Easy, right? Then you arrive and realize there are 2 major places, and they are doing very different jobs. Here's the split you need before the car even parks. Historic Jamestown is the actual archaeological site of the 1607 English settlement, connected with the National Park Service and Jamestown rediscovery. That's the real ground, the river edge, the church area, the archaeology, the archaearium, the glass house, and the slower feeling of standing where the early colony fought to survive. Jamestown Settlement is the larger living history museum. That's where you get galleries, films, a recreated Powhatan town, a recreated fort, and ships. It's more built out, more explanatory, and usually easier for families or anyone who wants the bigger story organized before their brain starts overheating. Start with historic Jamestown if you want the place itself to set the tone. Go through the visitor center, then move outside toward the fort area, the church, the archaeology spaces, the archaearium if it fits, and the river. Historic Jamestown currently lists the entrance gate from 8:45 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Visitor center ticketing from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., the Glass House from 8:45 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Island Loop Drive from 8:45 a.m. to sunset. That last one can be a beautiful, quieter piece of the day if your group has the time and patience for it. The James River is the anchor here. Don't rush past it. Let the water make the story feel less like a textbook paragraph and more like a real decision made on real land with real consequences. Jamestown is a place of English ambition, fear, hunger, trade, labor, indigenous power, and Powhatan diplomacy and resistance. The Glass House can work as a first or last stop depending on parking, timing, and how the day is moving. Just be careful with your expectations. Active archaeology, tours, pathway access, and programs can change, especially while improvement work is happening around parts of the site. Give yourself room to adjust without acting like one missed program has personally betrayed the vacation. Lunch needs a plan today. Historic Jamestown's current guide lists the Dale House Cafe as closed for renovations, so don't build the whole day around eating there. Bring snacks, use picnic options if they fit your group, or drive back toward Williamsburg or another nearby food stop before continuing. This sounds small until you're standing in the sun with hungry people in one granola bar that has become a family inheritance. After lunch, go to Jamestown Settlement. This is where the day gets clearer. The galleries and film help organize what you just saw. The outdoor areas give younger travelers, visual learners, and first-time visitors something easier to hold on to. The recreated Powhatan town, fort, and ships help explain the wider world around the colony, as long as you remember that this museum is interpretation. Historic Jamestown is the actual site. Jamestown Settlement helps you understand the story. That order gives the day weight. The real ground comes first. The museum gives the explanation after. You can reverse the order if your group needs the context first, and that's fine. But don't mash both places into a rushed half day and call it done. Jamestown needs the river, the archaeology, the museum, and enough breathing room for the darker parts of the story to land without turning the visit into homework. Also, this is where the main Williamsburg planning tip earns its keep. Don't add Yorktown today. On a map, it can look like the efficient move. In real life, it turns 2 important places into a tired blur. Jamestown has 2 major experiences on its own. By late afternoon, head back to Williamsburg, eat somewhere easy, and give everyone a calm evening. Tomorrow changes the whole subject. Yorktown deserves fresh attention because battlefield scale and riverfront payoff don't work well when everyone is already cooked. Day 3, Yorktown, the battlefield, and the riverfront finish. Day 3 begins with the least glamorous travel tip in this whole video. And yes, it matters. Before you leave Williamsburg, check the current National Park Service Colonial Parkway detour map. The parkway is under a major rehabilitation project, and NPS says the full reopening remains scheduled for late fall 2026, with current detours and changing traffic patterns still part of the picture. So don't promise yourself a smooth, scenic drive until the official route says yes. Scenic is lovely. Arriving without a surprise detour meltdown is lovelier. Have breakfast in Williamsburg, then drive toward Yorktown with enough cushion that the morning doesn't feel like a race. Start at Yorktown Battlefield or the Battlefield Visitor Center if access and hours fit your date. The Yorktown Battlefield Visitor Center is listed as open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and the Battlefield Tour roads are listed as open until sunset. That gives you a nice structure without forcing the whole day onto your feet. Yorktown is the final act of the historic triangle story. Jamestown gives you the first permanent English settlement. Colonial Williamsburg gives you the capital, politics, trade, daily life, and pressure building toward revolution. Yorktown brings you to siege lines, armies, strategy, surrender, and the end of the Revolutionary War's major fighting. Keep the battlefield simple. You don't need to become a military historian by lunch. Start with the visitor center, get the map, watch the orientation material if it's available, and understand the basic stakes before you drive or walk the stops. In 1781, American and French forces trapped Cornwallis's British Army at Yorktown. The surrender helped secure American independence. That's the spine. The landscape fills in the scale. Use the tour roads if they're open. They keep the battlefield from becoming one giant walk where everyone slowly loses interest and starts pretending to read signs. Choose the major stops. Pause where the story makes sense. And don't turn every marker into a dramatic reading unless your passengers have consented to that lifestyle. If you're traveling with kids, older adults, or anyone whose canon tolerance runs low, make this block focused. Better to understand a few places clearly than collect blurry photos of 12 plaques nobody remembers. By midday, shift toward food and a reset. Keep Yorktown from turning into a survival drill. Keep lunch simple near the riverfront or wherever makes sense for your museum timing. Then go to the American Revolution Museum at Yorktown. This is the stop that helps the war make sense after the battlefield gives you the scale. The galleries, film, encampment, and farm make the conflict easier to picture without forcing the narrator in your head to say, "troop movement" for 3 straight hours. The museum is listed by the Jamestown Yorktown Foundation as open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily, except Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day. The Jamestown Yorktown Foundation currently lists general admission at $20 for ages 13 and over and $10 for ages 6 to 12. So check current pricing when you plan. If you already bought the historic triangle ticket, this is where that 5-day access can make the whole history route feel simpler. Pairing the battlefield and museum is the whole reward of day 3. The battlefield gives you the place, the museum gives you the context. Give Yorktown a full day because the story needs room to change from colony origins to war ending. That's why separating the 2 days matters so much. You're saving your feet, and you're saving your attention. Finish at the Yorktown Riverfront or Riverwalk Landing area. This is the softer ending the day needs. Walk by the water, browse a little, sit for dinner nearby if the timing works, or keep it low-key and head back to Williamsburg for the evening. Don't turn the riverfront into a nightlife plan. Let it be the visual payoff after the battlefield and museum. Water, boats, open air, quiet moment. No one reading a cannon sign out loud from 10 feet away. If your group is tired, leave before everyone gets dramatic about it. Yorktown has done its job when you understand why this place matters and still have enough energy to enjoy the river before the drive back. By now, you've had 3 days of walking, sites, museums, maps, and big historical stories. Day 4 needs a real choice. It depends on what kind of traveler you are after all of that. Day 4, Busch Gardens, museums, or the slower Williamsburg ending. Day 4 is where you stop planning for imaginary people. You know the ones. They wake up cheerful, walk all day, never complain about ticket prices, eat whatever is nearby, and somehow still want a full theme park day after 3 history-heavy days. Lovely people. Mostly fiction. So you have 2 good versions of Day 4. The first version is Busch Gardens. Choose this if your group wants rides, shows, music, big energy, and a total change of pace. After Colonial Williamsburg, Jamestown, and Yorktown, a theme park day can feel great because nobody has to interpret a battlefield before lunch. Kids may love it, coaster fans may love it. Adults who need a break from heavy history may also quietly love it. If you choose Busch Gardens, make it a real park day. Have breakfast first, check the official calendar for your exact date. Look at showtimes, check any attraction notes, and use the app once you're there. Busch Gardens says dates, times, and offerings are subject to change or cancellation, so don't plan the whole day around one ride or show without checking. Also, plan lunch inside the park and be honest about the budget. Theme park food has a special talent for making wallets look nervous. Busch Gardens makes the most sense when the hours are strong enough to justify the ticket and your group actually wants that pace. In summer, Water Country USA can be a possible add-on if the schedule and ticket setup support it. But don't force a water part because a bundle makes it sound convenient. Convenient on a website can feel very different once you're sweating in real life. This is also where ticket strategy comes back, but keep it practical. Colonial Williamsburg's 2026 bounce ticket options combine Colonial Williamsburg with Busch Gardens, and the summer version includes Water Country USA within its date range. Those products also include Busch Gardens parking. That can be useful for the right trip. It can be too much for a group that only wants the historic triangle sites. Compare dates, prices, parking, and what you'll actually use before buying the biggest ticket in the cart. The second version of Day 4 is the slower Williamsburg finish, and for a lot of travelers, this is the smarter ending. Williamsburg is beautiful, but it's also walking heavy and information heavy. Your brain has been processing archaeology, trade shops, battlefields, museums, tickets, shuttles, and dinner timing. A softer final day keeps the trip from ending with everyone silently staring out the car window like they've returned from a campaign. Start with a lazy breakfast or coffee near Merchant Square, then return to whatever you wanted more time with in Colonial Williamsburg. Maybe that's the art museums. Maybe it's a trade shop you rush past on day 1. Maybe it's one more walk through the historic area when the group isn't trying to conquer the map. You can also wander the College of William and Mary area, browse Merchant Square properly, or book one tavern meal you didn't want to cram into the first day. Indoor stops matter here. Treat them as built-in energy management. They help you handle weather, attention span, and tired humans. If it rains, museums, shops, coffee, and a ticketed program can carry the day. If it's hot, walk in the morning and save indoor time for the afternoon. If you're traveling with older adults or small kids, this may be the day everyone needed while pretending Busch Gardens was the obvious answer. Keep the final evening local. Dinner near Merchant Square, dessert, one last stroll, or an evening program if the schedule and energy line up. Don't use the last night to launch a random drive to Richmond, Norfolk, or Virginia Beach because somebody got inspired by the map. That's how a clean 4-day Williamsburg trip turns into a car-based group project. The point of Day 4 is honesty. Busch Gardens is the high-energy ending. The slower Williamsburg day is the recovery ending. Pick the one that matches your actual group, the season, the budget, the weather, and the park hours. The best final day lets people leave saying they'd come back. Skip the version that only proves you can technically survive one more packed schedule. The best Williamsburg trip usually isn't the one where you come home with the longest list of places you technically visited. It's the one where the days still feel good while you're living them. Where nobody is speed walking through brick streets with dead eyes. Where Jamestown has time to feel serious. Where Yorktown doesn't get treated like a leftover errand. Where the final day feels like something you chose on purpose, not something the itinerary bullied you into. So before you book everything, give the trip some breathing room. Leave space for slow meals, river views, museum breaks, and the random moments you didn't plan for. Williamsburg has enough going on, you don't need to attack it. Plan it well, move at a human pace, and this trip becomes a lot more fun than people expect.